My sister was set to marry a guy who was a complete douchebag. He seemed like a nice catch to any outsider. He was tall, handsome, very confident, a doctor. Basically the sort of guy any woman would swoon over. Unfortunately, he was a sociopathic, unrepentant narcissist, devoid of any empathy, who would take out his anger on anybody he felt beneath him and seemed to enjoy doing it. You know how basically they say, don't look at how your partner treats you, look at how he treats others. And that's how he'll eventually treat you. My sister didn't pick up on that. I picked up on it early. This guy was really mean. Would berate and insult people for the smallest thing and would lose his cool with anybody who looked at him the wrong way. He started doing it to me, and I told my sister early on, this guy's an asshole. She was like,
Nah.
You two will eventually get along, you just got off on the wrong start. I told him I've seen him do that to other people, but she seemed to think, oh, but he's nice to me, I'm the special one. Maybe I can change him. Or I have no idea what she was thinking. After about 2 years together, when they were engaged, the cracks were evident. My parents loved him. His dad and my dad go way back. They both went to the same medical school together and have been close friends for decades. Her fiancé is also good friends with my 2 older brothers. After 2 years, my sister was realizing this guy was an asshole. He's always been an asshole, and he won't change. There was a really painfully obvious example one day when we were having dinner, and my sister's fiancé and my dad were having a discussion about something political. My sister tried to offer her opinion into the discussion, and they both snickered. Then this guy just started berating her and ripping into her in front of everyone, making her feel this small. I could sense her pain. She was just quiet and just sat there taking it. I was thinking, what are you doing with this guy? He has no respect for you. He has no love for you. Another time our family was at this dinner function where a lot of big people were around. My sister's fiancé completely left my sister alone at the table with me, and was sitting at this other table with 2 women, very obviously flirting with them semi-drunk. He just left her all alone at the table. I asked her what was wrong, why was he ignoring her? She told me they had had an argument earlier and this was his way of punishing her. You see what I mean when I say this guy is a complete sociopath? My sister and I are really close, and even though I'm younger by far, little brothers aren't devoid of wisdom. And I've been urging her from day one to break up with this guy before she gets in too deep. Well, now that she'd spent 2 years with him and was engaged, she was obviously in too deep. And she used to tell me about all the outbursts he has, how he treats her with no respect. We often had long discussions, just me and her, where she'd spill open like a can of beans and just divulge all the bullshit that he's put her through recently. Sometimes she'd cry and I'd be there to help her out, but she still seemed to want to stick with him. She actually convinced herself that he loved her behind all that horrible treatment, and couldn't pull herself to cancel the engagement, what with our parents, his parents, everyone counting on it. She knew they'd all say she's crazy, turning down this smart, handsome doctor. I kept urging her to break up, but she stuck with the he'll change or he loves me deep down excuses. It all came to a heads when one day she very publicly exploded at him. We were having a huge dinner, both sides of our families, and I was sitting next to him. He kept bullying me the entire night. Move your elbows over, couldn't you wear something a bit more presentable? Stop sticking your hand out like that, it's rude, don't you think you've had enough of that? If I asked him to pass a bowl or the sauce or something, he'd hand it over but then pull away and be like, say please, say thank you. He was smiling the entire time, laughing. My 2 older brothers were also snickering. They didn't seem to mind this guy was publicly bullying me and having fun with it. He and my dad started having one of their conversations again, and my dad started airing out all his general frustrations and disappointments regarding me. And they started both talking about my life openly in front of me. Her fiancé then turned to me and started openly lecturing me, and when I tried to ignore him, hey, are you listening to me? What's the matter with you? Your dad never taught you any respect? My sister just then basically exploded. She was sitting at the other side of the table, guessing she didn't want to be near him, but she was watching what was going on the entire time. My sister just then basically exploded. She was sitting at the other side of the table, guessing she didn't want to be near him, but she was watching what was going on the entire time. My girlfriend and I have been together for 6 years. I know she's been wanting to get married and wanting for me to propose for a really long time. I've always put it off cause I never felt I was at the right spot for it, and I wanted to wait for the right time. Nevertheless, I know she's been waiting for it patiently for a long time, and if it was up to her, we would have gotten married years ago before I was even ready. Anyway, I figured since she's waited so long, I wanted to make it as perfect for her as possible. I chose the weekend of our 6th anniversary of our first date to propose to her. I was planning to have her come over to our house, I would have my mom and sister vacate for the night, and I would prepare a very nice dinner for her and would propose during that. I had written out this really long speech which I'd memorized after much practice because I wanted it to be perfect. Now my girlfriend has always wanted me to learn how to cook. I'm ashamed to say I've never properly learned how to cook, and I've never been really good at it. Since I live with my mother and sister at home, they always cook for me and they've never really needed me to cook. It's always one or the other of them, or both of them, doing cooking. At best, I'd just do washing up or chop up onions or something simple. I told them, look, I desperately need to learn how to cook a very nice meal. I told them she's always wanted me to learn how to cook, and it would be great if I could surprise her with this excellent dinner that I've made myself. She would never expect it from me. She would be thrilled. I told them I might just need some guidance. They weren't that enthusiastic first, they were like, we're really busy, we don't have time to teach a child how to cook. I told them it's really important, and to help them understand the gravity of the situation. I told them I was proposing tonight. They both went crazy and excited, like, oh my god, have you bought a ring yet? I showed them the ring, and my sister went flipping crazy, screaming, crying tears. I told them I was probably going to ask for their opinion on it anyway. And they were really enthralled and so excited and happy for me. My sister was literally crying and breathing heavily. They asked for details and everything about how I was going to propose. I recited the long speech I'd memorized. They told me it was beautiful, they love it, she'll love it. Again my sister was crying even. I told them, so this is why I need to cook tonight. She's always wanted me to learn to cook, and if I make a nice meal for her, I want to make our night as magical as possible. My sister was like, no way, if you cook, you'll it up. Just let us cook for you, and say you did it. I said, no, it has to be me, it has to be me. It's really important that I do it, I don't want to deceive her. We reached a compromise and they said we can do it together. My mom supervised, my sister will take charge. And I'll basically just follow instructions and help her out. It turned out going really good, but how much I really contributed is questionable. They ended up taking way too much over me. Way more than I had planned. I had wanted to do it all myself with their guidance, but I ended up being just a helper while my sister did most of the work. I didn't want to let that spoil the night, so I just let it go. Then my girlfriend arrived at the door, and my mom and sister were getting ready to go out. When they greeted her, my mom was acting cool, polite, very poker face about it, I guess 'cause she's a mature adult. My sister on the other hand was acting like a jittery little schoolgirl, just jumping out. It was really cringy and awkward to watch. She kept telling my girlfriend how beautiful she looked tonight, how excited she was for her, how we were perfect for each other. The way she was smiling and acting too excited really gave it all away. She said, he's got something really special planned for you. I kept trying to push her out the door and telling her to shut up, but she just wouldn't, and she kept chatting to my girlfriend. I wanted to push her out, but my girlfriend told me I was being rude to her, and I should let the talk. I just sighed and knew it would end badly, but my sister kept being as unsubtle as possible. I really wish I could be a fly on the wall here tonight, you are so lucky, if only you knew. My girlfriend was then, is he going to propose? My sister didn't say yes, or no. She just gritted her teeth in a big smile like SND just started screaming and crying and hugging me, suffocating me. My mom was trying to pull my sister away, but she just started screaming, show her the ring. Show her the ring. I told her to seriously shut up, and that my mom was clearly waiting for her, but she kept shouting, show her the ring. I tried to explain to them that this really wasn't the way I had planned it. I wanted to do it when we were alone and I had a long speech planned. They both just wanted to see the ring. I said, can I at least say the speech? My sister was like, "You should let him say it. It's a really beautiful speech." I started and I'd barely got 2 sentences in when she interrupted me and was like, "Actually, it's 2 long. You can say it later. Just show her the ring." I wanted to wait until we were alone so I could say the speech and then show the ring, but they were both literally screaming at me to show them. I told my sister she'd already seen it. She said she wanted to see it again, and my girlfriend told me I had to show it to her now. I showed them the ring again and they both started shouting and screaming. They literally both jumped on me and pinned me to the couch like a lion grappling a dying elephant, and ripped the ring from my hand like a lion tearing meat from its prey. I told them to get off, they were suffocating me. But they were both literally hugging me to death while screaming like hyenas into my ears. It was like WWE or something, it was unreal. I tried to pull away, but they were both just hugging and kissing me and screaming into my ears, clawing at me and the ring like rabid animals, squeezing and suffocating me. My mother did nothing to help. She just stood there laughing as I went down. I realized they were mainly interested in the ring, so I let them have it and crawled away to the side of the couch where I could breathe properly. I felt the evening was ruined already. I had nearly just been clawed to death. I didn't know if my clothes were ripped. My hair was completely messed up. I had both their lipsticks smudged on my face from their dual hyena attack. And my clothes were a complete mess now. It was an infuriating mess of a situation and I felt gross. I just sat quietly there for at least 2 hours while my mother, girlfriend, and sister sat together looking at the ring, talking and chatting amongst themselves and acting like I wasn't there. The entire evening was ruined. My mom and sister were meant to be going out for the night. They didn't even leave once and were there the entire time. The food that I had made was getting cold. I told them dinner was getting cold. They all said they weren't hungry and just sat there looking at the ring, obsessing over it like they are Gollum or something. Me, the boyfriend, the groom, may have as well been invisible. They were all completely ignoring me, pretending like I wasn't there. I had planned this perfect evening between my girlfriend and I where I could propose. I'd been preparing it for such a long time. It was completely hijacked by my mother and sister. My sister spoiled it and didn't even feel bad about it. Worst of all, my girlfriend didn't even seem to mind. I told her this wasn't the evening I had in mind. She didn't care. She was too excited about the fact we're finally engaged. I didn't even get a chance to say my speech. She was like, "Don't worry, you can say it tomorrow. I'm too tired now." It really hurt my feelings. I don't think she understood how sad that made me feel. My girlfriend didn't even seem to care that it wasn't even really me who proposed to her, and the way my sister was acting, you'd think like she was the one getting married. This entire evening I'd planned out for so long. I'd been entirely cut out of it. Sidelined. Reduced to a spectator. After we finally did have the dinner, I asked my girlfriend if we could spend some time together in bed before she goes back home for the night. She was like, "We can't. Your mom and sister are here. We can't just leave them." I told her they weren't even meant to be here. They were meant to have gone out tonight, and they both were like, yeah, go upstairs, don't worry about us." I told her she really shouldn't worry about them. We should both just go upstairs and spend some time together. She was like, "No. It would feel too weird and awkward." Well, that bad so much. I felt like the entire night was ruined. I'd barely gotten anything out of it. I didn't even spend any time with my girlfriend. My sister completely spoiled and ruined everything. The entire night was hijacked. I tried to explain to my girlfriend why everything that had happened, including her own behavior and acceptance of it, really bothered me. She didn't seem to understand and just brushed it aside. I explained to my mom, and she sort of understood and was apologetic, but tried to dump most of the blame on my sister. My sister was still in an excited, giddy mood. I asked her what was wrong with her. She said nothing. I told her she'd ruined the entire night and she acted like a 12-year-old or a clown. She got offended and denied it. She refused to see what she'd done wrong and how she'd ruined everything. I don't understand her behavior at all or why she would even act that way. I'm kind of hurt and offended by everything that's happened and the way they reacted to it. Do I have the right to feel this way? Should I just let it go and move on, or is there something I can do so that my grievances don't go unaddressed and ignored? I have a cousin by marriage, husband's cousin, that's 22 and dying of cancer. It was always her dream to marry and be a mom, and now that's not going to happen. It's hard on everyone. She has a much older fiancé, 30 years, and they had a symbolic wedding so she could have the experience. They started looking for ways to get access to a baby that she could take care of and experience some level of child care that way. But with 2020 and ethics in general, there's not a lot of ways to do that safely. My husband and I have the first and so far only children of our generation, who are 10 months and 23 months old. I had hopes that it wouldn't happen, but her parents asked me if they could borrow my younger baby for a few weeks. The cousin and her fiancé would basically be play acting having a baby. Her parents would also join in on pretending. There would be photo shoots and everything. This makes me really uncomfortable. It's really creepy. I cannot understate how creepy I think this is. I know that her not getting to live her dreams is sad, but I don't think this is the answer. I'm worried it will be traumatic for my baby. She's almost a year old and will, well, notice that her entire family will just vanish overnight for what will seem like forever. She's also still nursing, and they don't really seem to care about this factor. I'm really worried about problems down the road. This is setting a dangerous precedent of my child living under other guardianship. Her parents will have time to get attached, and they could try to use that for familial pressure if not legally. Her fiancé is also a wild card in that regard. I said no, and my husband's entire family is hounding us about this because her time is running out and it's time sensitive. They say we're being selfish. They say that we could use this as a free vacation and bond with our older child because I popped them out so close together. They want to compromise now by letting me come by a few times a day to bring milk. We still don't want to do this. Yesterday afternoon, we got an email from the cousin's parents offering actual dollar amounts for us to agree. We got enough from that to file a police report and at least get the threat in writing. We also had a call with my husband's parents and his siblings to basically clear the air. Apparently what they were telling people they asked for and what they were actually asking for were very different. Everyone on that call now had them blocked on social media except for mother-in-law, because of the cousin. Me and my daughter, Anya, are from India. Our native language is Hindi. She's 11 years old now. Her father died when she was 5 and I immigrated to States because everyone was trying to get me remarried to a 60-year-old sleazebag. Because, oh no. However will a woman live or raise a child alone? I started dating my now husband when Anya was 6. He had a 5-year-old son, Ben, 50% custody. Me, Anya, Ben, husband and Ben's mom get along really well. The kids were very well adjusted and they were genuinely happy when we got married. Whenever tensions arose, we dealt with them patiently. Let's just say after walking through the minefield of Indian family / drama, diffusing these toy bombs were very easy. Anya has a habit of talking in Hindi when she gets really excited. Sometimes, while talking to me, she starts talking in Hindi without even realizing it. This wasn't a problem. If she does that while others are around, I would remind her and she would revert back to English. Few months ago, Ben's mom passed away and he came to live with us full time. He has a room already and we put Ben into therapy immediately. A week ago, Ben walked in when me and Anya were cooking and we were talking in Hindi and he started crying. He told me he is feeling bad that he can't understand what we are saying. I hugged him and consoled him and assured him that we didn't do it to exclude him purposefully. And then Anya started crying and apologized. The whole thing was just heartbreaking. Since then, Anya has been making conscious efforts to talk only in English and I can tell that it puts Ben at ease. Yesterday, however, she was frustrated and started lamenting about schoolwork in Hindi to me. Me and Anya were in the living room and Ben and husband were in the kitchen and they heard it. Later that night, my husband told me how he thinks we must start thinking about giving punishments whenever she speaks in Hindi unconsciously until Ben starts feeling better. I was horrified at this suggestion. I have never pulled the "she is my daughter, not yours" card. But this is the hill I am willing to die on and use that card if necessary. Whether he likes it or not, it's her first language. Expecting her to always converse in her second language, even when she is feeling some extreme emotions, is just cruel. Especially after she is genuinely making an effort to make Ben feel more comfortable. It's almost like punishing for her heritage or for her being Indian. Of course, this is a huge point of conflict between me and my husband. I think it's unfair to do this to Anya, even temporarily. He thinks me and Anya are unnecessarily making feel Ben bad while he is mourning his mother, while we can try and prevent it. Both of us are conflicted here.